ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. Get yours today at thebuttkicker.com and be sure to use our 20% discount promo code ISCA20.
Cardiology, I don't have a heart. Pulmonary doctor, no cigar. I can't diagnose a simple cold or flu, but if your engine's got a cough, I know what to do. Give it 6 of these and wash it down with this. A new air filter ought to help it catch its breath. Napa know how. Napa know how.
It's America's home for racing, and it is home to the Triple Crown. The Indianapolis 500, one of 3 races in the motorsports Triple Crown, included the Le Mans 24 Hours and the Monaco Grand Prix. Today, though, we are not racing at the infamous 2.5-mile oval dubbed as the Brickyard. We race on the infield road course for what is going to be a fun 41 laps of action. Hello, welcome one and all to the Napa Auto Parts 110. My name is Ola Red Bull. I've got Al Kozlowski beside me in the commentary box with Rob Melnick down behind the cameras for tonight's ISCA presentation. It's bound to be a fun race tonight, Al, on a track that we have never seen before in the ISCA. So the first time impressions out here, what have your thoughts been so far?
Well, it's pretty slick. There are certain spots on this track that you want to try to take it easy on. One of the main ones is going to be the transition coming off the lefts and rights in the infield, going back onto the main track. We're going to see some loss of traction there, and coming into the entrance of turn 1. Some people might overshoot that. So this is going to be a very interesting race for these 20 drivers that have going to attempt this race tonight. Let's see how this unfolds.
13 turns, the most infamous of those turns. We're going to dub tonight as NASCAR Turn 1. It's the Turn 1 on the oval circuit, a banked right-hander in this case round that sweeps all the way around from turn 12 to the front straightaway. Qualifying is presently underway. Turn 1 obviously will easily be the best passing opportunity on the night, considering you have the long blast down basically the entirety of the front straightaway to get there. Not to mention the run through NASCAR turn 1 as well, infamous turn 13 as well, where Ralph Schumacher had a big crash in the Formula One United States Grand Prix in 2004 that ended up with a broken back. So you've had a couple of guys that had some serious spills at that corner in particular, Al. Hopefully, though, we're not going to be seeing anybody taking some major spills at that corner tonight. That's the one corner you can't afford to get loose on.
No, we've got some names that have come back to race with us tonight. We want to welcome back. We've got Dalton Collins and welcome back Boyd Hogan to run with these guys tonight. Let's see how this unfolds. This qualifying underway. I think we have Dalton Collins is running his qualifying lap right now. Let's see what he turned.
Dalton Collins presently out there on a out lap, about to start his flying lap. Let's go on board with Dalton Collins with this one lap here, and you'll just see how quickly you approach this 90-degree right-hander of turn number 1. Right about there, just before the 300-meter braking board, hard on the brakes, all the way down the gears into turn 1. You quickly flick the car back over to the left, where we saw a massive flip in the 2006 United States F1 Grand Prix into the gravel trap, swinging it back to the right on the brakes between turns 3 and 4. Bit of a kink here for turn 5, where you cut back to the left hand for the carousel. That is turn 6. Then, of course, we'll come up turn 7, which sends another blast down the straight into turn 8, which is arguably the second best passing opportunity on the track here, Al.
Yeah, we'll watch him as he comes down this tight right-hander here. He'll come a little bit to the gray on the left there as he comes up. Now this sharp left coming up starts the wreck zones that I'm going to say are going to be the most wrecked. If we make this sharp left here, you've got to get it as close to those rumble strips as you can, and then drift up to make the sharp right here, and then there's an immediate sharp left here that a lot of guys are going to overshoot. So when we come off this left, you go to the right here. We're coming into the transition, where the next right will put us right back on the main track, and this is where a lot of guys are going to get squirrely. There's going to have to be a lot of feathering of the gas pedal here, because you don't want to take this full throttle as you want to. And we just seen Dalton get a little squirrely. See how he drifts down to the rumble strip a little bit, then he'll drift back up to the wall, and he'll ride that wall all the way down the front stretch. Whoa, he got a little squirrely there again.
That's the bobble that you could get off of the infamous turn 13, a 134.946 for Dalton Collins. Sees him so far the slowest time to have run this track so far. The fastest time, Boyd Hogan with a 129.486. That's about half a tenth quicker than his fastest lap in practice, which is a 129.538. So far, 9 drivers have set qualifying times out here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway out of the 20 that we have got set to run with us here tonight. So it should be a fun race. I mean, 20 cars, it's about the size of your average Formula One grid nowadays. So you never know. This could end up being quite the entertaining race ahead of us. Only 5 minutes left in qualifying, but still some drivers have yet to even set their first laps. It's a decently long lap, but it's also not the longest lap in the world. Remember Coda, where we had like the almost 3-minute laps? At least it's not that long.
Yeah, absolutely. This is half that length right here. We've got Boyd Hogan is pushing out a 1 minute 29-second lap. That's really all in the mail right there. A lot of guys are about a second slower than him right now. Travis Manning coming second. Dan Shimoon right now is currently third. Kenny Powell is currently fourth. Matthew Meekin, is fifth. Greg Wyszynski is sixth, and Chris Johnson is seventh. Let's see if Collins has sped up a little bit here on his second lap.
One driver who has sped up on his fastest lap is Boyd Hogan, who now continues to stretch his lead about 0.6 out in the clear of Travis Manning, a 129.433 for Boyd Hogan to put him up at the top of the Diamond Board. This is Brian Johnson, who was the driver who was second place in practice with a 130.419, almost a second off of Boyd Hogan's time. So Hogan is definitely the driver to beat tonight. Now, Brian Johnson had his first lap invalidated, so this is his one and only shot to try and get himself a good time and see if he can maybe put himself up on the front row. He was faster than Travis Manning in practice. He no doubt has the ability to go for a spot on the front row, pushing it right to the outside wall. They're going to dive it in, kind of feather the throttle through the fast sweeping turn 13, out to the front straightaway and across the starting grid. What's this one going to be at the line? It's a 1:30.542. Good enough, Al, for second place.
Yeah, and I thought I almost jinxed him there because Brian Johnson in that Ford machine is my pick to win the race tonight. So good luck, Brian Johnson.
Here's the number 50 machine. Josh Schaffner already set one lap in tonight, a 1:31.234. That is over a second faster than his fastest practice lap, Al. So Schaffner is on it at the moment. He's kind of around the midfield in his fastest practice time. He's currently sitting P4 in his best qualified time. Across the line, a 1:35.624. Had some struggles in the early section there of the lap, Al. Not able to improve. Just 0.004 of a second behind him, though. Dan Shamoon looking to maybe secure a top 5 finish as well.
Yeah, the starting grid is really not going to be that as important as where you finish off here. Although I will give a little bit of shout out and saying that Boyd Hogan in the top 4 there probably stand a good chance of not being involved in an accident. But there's so much more pressure in that top 4 to stay up there. They may make a mistake, and this is not a track you want to make a mistake at. It's just one minor hiccup, one not hitting your point or your marks, missing your turns, missing your braking points, missing your downshifting can cause dramatic effect on you and give you some penalties that you will have a hard time recovering from.
3 drivers have yet to set times. Michael Grant and Paul Olson still have not set a lap, and at this rate, they're not going to be able to set a lap. Justin Levine, I see attempting to load into the session. However, the 34 machine is still nowhere to be seen inside the venue, so I'm doubting, Al, that Justin is going to be able to actually make the starting grid tonight. So there's nobody out on the track at the moment, so with just a minute and a half remaining, it is now impossible for anybody to go out there and get another lap in. This is pretty much how our starting grid is going to line up, with Hogan over a second out front of Brian Johnson. And this is critical for Hogan. He's got a win already in the Super Cup Series season. He just needs to finish this race, Al, and he gets a free ticket in to the Super Cup Series playoffs in just a few weeks' time.
Well, best of luck to Boyd Hogan on this, because I know that Brian Johnson, Travis Manning, and Josh Schaffner, and Dan Shamoon, and Kenny Powell, they're all going to be beating up his door here, trying to get past him. And it's going to put some pressure on Boyd hogging all the wins, Hogan. But he's not, he doesn't fold under pressure. So I think Boyd's going to be just fine.
Take a look at the Super Cup Series standings coming into today. Greg Wyszynski and Wayne Grossi are the 2 drivers due battling for the bubble spot at the edge of the top 8. 1 point separates them. Now, the other big thing about this news here, Al, is that while Greg Wyszynski is here, so is Wayne Grossi. The thing is, Wyszynski starts 8th, Grossi starts 13th. So Wyszynski is going to be looking to definitely improve his standing coming on over at the end of tonight's race, provided he can get a good run.
Yeah, we're missing our points leader presently. He's had another week that he's not going to make this race, so that's going to stir things up quite a bit in this points race.
We'll go into the implications of that a little bit deeper into this race when things kind of settle down past the start of tonight's run. For now, though, qualifying officially concludes. Let's get a swing down for the national anthem.
Race fans, it is time for the most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
Well, the national anthem has been sung, and the Grand Marshal has said the famous words of motorsports. So take a rundown for your ButtKicker starting grid for the Napa Auto Parts 110 from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Boyd Hogan starts in first place with Brian Johnson over a second behind, but still lining up on the front row. Travis Manning, 3/10 back, is going to be in third place with Josh Schaffner in fourth. Dan Shamoon is in fifth place with Kenny Powell down in sixth. Matthew McMeekin is going to be in seventh with Craig Wachinski in eighth. Just about half a tenth back from Wachinski is going to be Chris Johnson in ninth place with Robert Pattengale, a surprise driver to see up in the top 10 there, Al, rounding out the top 10.
And rounding out the rest of our field is going to be Corey Cook starting in 11th position, Austin Greer in 12th, Wayne Grossi in 13th, Chuck Phillips in 14th, Randy Drumhiller 15th, Dalton Collins 16th, Craig Johnson 17th. I don't know if Justin Levine has made the field or not, but if he has, he may come in probably around 21st. Michael Grant will start in 18th, and Paul Olson will round out the field in 20th.
So there it is, your 20 estimated drivers getting set to rumble away here tonight from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Will only be 19 if Levine cannot make the grid, and considering that down at the track, the anthem is just wrapping up as well. I think it's safe to say Justin Levine will not be making the race tonight. So unless he can get in later on, he will be marked as it did not start, which of course is an activity, Al, that yields no points.
Well, absolutely. That's why you'll see my name up there. This is a race that I was planning on running, but decided at the last moment to not run. So just ignore that 00 as I am not on the track. Getting ready to go green here. Let's see how this thing grids out. And
It's a longer pace lap as well. We'll take a look at some of the race facts so far, some of the weather going on out there on the track today. We'll start with the weather. It's pretty calm out there, only blowing 2 miles an hour up to the northwest, so virtually no wind at all for these drivers to contend with. That being said, it's a hot track temperature, 113 degrees from the track here in Indiana. It'll be a hot one out there down on the surface. Only 69 degrees Fahrenheit in the air, though, so overall, it's a relatively nice temperature. Race facts, it's a 41-lap race. Stages always in effect. Stage ends will be at the end of laps 9 and 18. Caution laps not counting for this race, as it is a road course race. It's one of those procedures that you only put in for the road course races. We will not be seeing any of the caution laps being counted here, which is why you might be seeing when we're under caution here, the lap counter not ticking over when they cross start finish until they take the green flag again.
well, speaking of the cautions, remember we're only going to have centralized cautions on this. For those that don't know, if there's a wreck, the caution flag will only fly in that general vicinity of that wreck to let drivers know that there's a wreck ahead of them. So going back on the track temp of 113, knowing this track probably is going to cool down somewhere at about 91, 92 degrees as the race goes on.
That's what we're hoping for. That being said, it might heat up a little bit before we get to that point. Of course, the hottest time of day is typically around 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's presently just 5 before 2 in the afternoon in sim time here on August the 12th. So there's the possibility it could be up a little bit more, but hopefully we will be seeing it cooling off as it goes along. Much like Watkins Glen as well, we're not expecting this race to take very long. I was running the numbers here before, and if every driver kind of runs around the same lap for about 1:32, we could be seeing this race finished up here in just over an hour, not counting, of course, stage cautions.
Well, I was just checking out Boyd Hogan's car here, our race leader there, and I did notice that he has a sticker on one of his pillars. It appears that his grandmother, who used to watch our racing quite a bit, she has passed away. That's very sad news, and we want to wish all of Mr. Hogan's family our condolences, and sorry to hear that. She was a huge fan of our series here and will be missed dearly.
So it looks like Hogan will be racing for Grandma tonight. Always a noble cause to see down there on the track, no doubt. That's what's driving Hogan to get that 1.1 second clear pull time. So hard to see what that 96 machine can do over the course of the night. Pace car pulls down the pit road in the hands of race leader number 96 in the Legacy Chevrolet. A bit of a wheel spin for Boyd Hogan. But we are green flag race from Indianapolis. Bad start towards the tail end. Brandon Drumhill drops down 2 spots already. Hogan's cleared the field, so side-by-side for second place. Travis Manning trying to fend off Brian Johnson to pick up P2 down to the turn number 1. Still double file through spots just outside the top 10. A couple drivers dropping back more so than others. Through the switchback, a 1 and 2 though, still far. Still clean. No drivers off track for now.
Yeah, we have a traffic jam back here towards the back of this field. We got Wayne Grossi, tire smoke going on there. He is really using those brakes. We're just watching the bottlenecking going on here, and everybody's got kind of straightened it out, and we're nose to tail here, which is good for the most part, but all it takes is one mistake by a driver in front of another driver, and it will, as we watched last week, it'll bottleneck this whole track right up and cause some people to have incidents they don't even want.
Schaffner's had a heck of a start. So has Corey Cook. Cook already up to 11th place. They were side by side, these two drivers, just down into turn number 7. Cook might try to go for the crossover, and Josh Schaffner gets close to the back bumper and not able to get the run up there. 3rd place, Brian Johnson off course just in front. Loses out a spot, goes down to 4th. Just lost out the spot to Dan Shamoon, pushed too wide, and one of those very, very critical corners. One of the better pass opportunities on the track we've been talking about before this race. In the run out, though, through turn 13, Hoyt Hogan still very much clear out in front with nobody looking to pressure behind. Looks like we could see a couple of drag races further towards the tail end of the field for positions coming down into turn number 1. Nothing, though, really within the top 10. Look back to Austin Greer and Dalton Collins. That's the closest battle on the track right now.
Yeah, I was surprised. They all made that transition.
Oh, look at the Rossi gets run over by Austin Greer coming into turn 1.
That's what I told you. You missed that point. We got one in the grass and one really slow here down on the first stretch here. Now, that's a penalty. He'll have to wait it out and probably drop to the back of the field. And I think that's Josh Schaffner, isn't it? No,
a couple of drivers having issues. There are 3 drivers, actually, that went off there. Dan Shamoon went off. Brian Johnson followed. And then it was Schaffner who got sent around by Corey Cook and fully spun him. All 4 drivers had issues.
It doesn't take much. You miss those braking points. I mean, you got to pay attention to what you're doing and less of what the guy in front of you is doing here.
Oh, Grossi with Dan Shamoon.
Yeah. Wayne Grossi seriously has braking issues. I mean, he's wearing the heck out of these brakes. He's not. He's got to gather himself back up and get this thing under control.
He already got run over by Corey Cook coming into turn 1 because he broke so early in turn 1. Then nearly turns Dan Shamoon and gets by him with a bit of a messy overtake down into turn number 6. It's been an interesting start so far, to say the very least, from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. No doubt it'll be an interesting race as this race continues to build up more and more as the night goes on. I'm looking kind of around, well, let's actually take a look back to Austin Greer because there is still battles going on all throughout this at the moment, but it's a bit difficult to determine who's really going to be where as a result of the mass different numbers of braking points you got all over the racetrack.
Yeah, I say this week after week after week with different tracks. Patience, patience, patience. This is definitely a track you have to have your head in the game here. If you don't have patience and hit your marks and hit your braking points, you're definitely going to have problems. So I think Wayne Grossi has kind of gathered himself back up, and he's going to try to work himself back up to the front of this field, or as far up as he can. But I think early on, he just kind of lost his mojo.
It's a rhythm track as well. You need to make sure that you maintain a good rhythm. You throw yourself off for one corner, it most likely will put you out of line for just about every corner coming on up until you can get yourself to a bit of a longer straightaway. You need to make sure you ace every last apex, every last bit of throttle application, every last bit of brake pedal you use in this track as well. You cannot afford, to make a mistake anywhere because it will always cost you so much. There's a lot of close battles going on. Take a look at Brian Johnson down the inside of Matthew McMeekin. In turn number 11, gonna dive, trying to go up through 12. No dice though for Johnson to get around the Mobile 1 Ford Mustang of Matthew McMeekin. Potentially into turn 1 there, Aldo. Johnson's close enough, he'll have that draft down the front straight.
Yeah, he's just got to patiently wait. He'll probably get this position coming into this turn 1 entrance here. It depends on how McMeekin enters. This is going to be very crucial for him. Brian Johnson kind of checks up a little bit just in case he does miss. And he makes it perfectly. Very clean entrance.
clean entrance. Unfortunately, Johnson will retain his 4th place for the time being. He's still trying to work his way up. Kind of fell back a little bit. Started up in 2nd. So he's wanting to kind of work his way a little bit further up through the field and hopefully a little bit more quicker as the race goes on. Look back to Austin Greer, Dalton Collins, and Dan Shamoon, though. Those 3 drivers all under a blanket at the moment. Shamoon in the front line Mustang, trying to look around Austin Greer here, who's going to maybe try to go down the inside of Collins here into turn 6. Collins in the Reaper Speedlight of Chevrolet tries to cover him off, but goes wide. That allows Greer to get the nose in. Not enough, though, to actually go for a proper overtake. Maybe, though, out of 7. He's pulled alongside. Collins trying to cover off to the right. Pinches Austin Greer up against the grass. Greer's going to have to fight the long way around the outside at turn number 9. The Chevrolet, though, no match for the later breaking Austin Greer. Move himself up in a PA with a great pass around the outside. Collins tries to fight back. Greer goes off that track. That's going to give the spot back to Dalton Collins. Maybe gives one up to Dan Shamoon as well.
Yeah, that's what I said. Patience. You know, let somebody have the position. You're going to end up getting it back. You know, just keep the pressure on them. And speaking of pressure, I don't think Boyd Hogan knows what that's about because Travis Manning is 4 seconds behind him right now. Boyd Hogan is just on a Sunday drive right now.
As is so often the case with Boyd Hogan all the way in Soken, he has that name for a reason, shall we say. Collins and Shamoon, side by side, down to the turn 1 to the battle for 8th. Shamoon completes the pass, goes wide and into the grass for the 23 machine. Dalton Collins, tell you what, he loses these positions and gets them right back as the car just runs wide. Like you said, Al, be patient. Give the guy the spot. He'll probably make a mistake the next quarter.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They're intimidated. I mean, they got certain drivers out here that they know, you know, that are fast and they don't want to pass them. And if you wait patiently and just let these cars pass, you'll get the positions back. I mean, quit battling so rough with it. We're just 5 laps into this race. I mean, we have quite a good distance left in this race. I mean, so don't use up all your equipment. It looks like Brian Johnson in the 4 machine is right back on the bumper of Matthew McKeegan, and he is going to try to put some pressure on him.
This is the battle now for P3 on the track. McMeekin trying to hold off Johnson just behind. Brian Johnson's been a bit conservative, though, in this battle here for P3. And I don't think he'll be close enough this time by Al to get that run into turn 1. As I say that, gets a great line coming around through turn 13, and that means I do believe McMeekin might have some trouble in the turn 1. But Brian Johnson pulls out of the draft there. He wants to pull back a little bit. I think he's trying to set up McMeekin here a little bit more. Recognizes he probably wasn't going to complete it this time around, so he pulled out of the draft there to make sure that he wasn't going to be going overly fast when he got around to turn 1 and compromise himself even further.
Yeah, there's some strategies going on here with these guys. I mean, they are being patient, and they are, for the most part, picking the right passing points here. There's certain parts on the track you absolutely do not want to pass. If you try it, you're going to end up either in the grass, in the fender of another driver. You just have to be patient, 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 patient.
Swap for P5. Wachinski gets past Kenny Powell between turns 5 and 6. Wachinski was pressuring the 24 big time, gave him a bit of a bumper as well to move Powell out of the way, and then made a clean pass from there into turn number 6. So Wachinski showing he's not afraid to use the bumper to potentially get by a driver at the road courses. Meanwhile, that battle for 3rd is still heating up again. Johnson might feel it the same way.
Yeah, he's just trying that bumper. I don't know, you must have heard from Greg Wachinski the bumper works because he is all over the rear end of Matthew McKeegan.
Already going to be coming up to lap number 7. 3 to go in stage number 1. Johnson compromises himself big time through turn 12. Oh, but McMeekin does the same through 13, but Johnson does it more. Brian Johnson loses a lot of time out through 13, so down the front straightaway, he is not going to be close enough this time by to have a look down into turn number 1.
Yeah, all Johnson has to hope for is that McMeekin makes a mistake. That's all he needs to do. He can patiently sit back there and just keep the pressure on him, keep him like a half a second in front of him, and Matthew will you know, he might make a mistake. I don't know. We've only been racing with Matthew for this season, so we really don't know his driving style, but so far we are certainly impressed.
Just took a look around the field. Chuck Phillips, unfortunately, looks like the end of lap 1 had a massive slide, and he has lost the front bumper on his car.
Brian Johnson goes around it. See the pressure. He turned it right around. He is trying too hard to get past Matthew McMeekin.
I think that was in turn 7 that he lost it. Just too much on the throttle, I believe.
He was at these tracks, loose is fast, and he was just way too loose, and he's going to lose it a little bit again here. It looks like he's got Greg Wyszynski right on his tail bump feathers here, and he's probably going to lose a position to him if he doesn't calm it down a little bit and regather.
Wyszynski's the one being patient now, and he looks like he might absolutely get him here through 13. Pit road has officially closed this time by... Oh, hello. Austin Greer has had a spin between turns 11 and 10 and 11. Lost by himself on throttle. Glanced off the Armco barrier, so no major damage. He'll be able to get this one rolling again. Unfortunate for Austin Greer, who was having a decent run in stage 1. Good news is there are 2 more stages where he'll be able to get a run back.
Yeah, absolutely. When you get in the grass like Austin did, that's like driving on glass. I mean, you try to get that car spun back around to have it pointing in the right direction, and that grass is extremely slick, and it just keeps on spinning you. So he got it back under control, and he's back on the track.
Collins and Shamoon are the 2 closer drivers out on the track at the moment with in their battle for 8th and 9th place. Just up the road, Brian Johnson now goes off course. Number 4 machine having yet another slide, giving up that spot to Greg Wyszynski, and in fact giving up another one to Chris Johnson as well. So Brian Johnson's day goes from bad to worse, now down to 6th place after starting in 2nd.
Well, I certainly hope he gets better, because that pick to win curse looks like it's haunting him pretty bad right now, and unfortunately it's the roll of the dice.
8th and 9th are still nice and tight. You saw them just at the tail end of the shot. There they are just up the road. Shamoon and Dalton Collins this is. Now, Collins has been steady all race long. The last time Shamoon in the front line Mustang got by him, it didn't go well, shall I say. Went off in the very next turn because he outbraked himself, giving the spot right back to Collins. But look at how close he is through 13 here. Oh, but compromises on the exit. Oh, losing it. Oh, he goes all the way around on the front straightaway. A long slide. Keep it on the wall. Oh, he clips it. So close to keeping that off the wall. That would have been legendary.
Yeah, he did everything he could to keep it off that wall, but momentum pushed him down there a little bit. But he didn't do enough damage to that car to cause him to park. I mean, it's still raceable, and at this track you can pretty much run without fenders if you need.
You absolutely can. I'm taking a look up now to Boyd Hogan. He's coming around through the final series of corners here, Al, and he has just been on fire. I mean, at the moment, pull himself like what is that, a 9-second gap?
Yeah, he is about 7 seconds in front of second place Travis Manning right now. That is a very comfortable lap right there. He can basically take his time, and he's going to come across the start-finish line here in a minute. And, certainly is driving like the normal Boyd Hogan.
So out through turn 13. This time round, he wins stage number 1. It will be Travis Manning to pick up 2nd. McMeekin will be 3rd. Wyszynski's just coming through for turn 13 still. He'll be in 4th place. Chris Johnson looks like he'll be wrapping out with a solid top 5. Brian Johnson in 6th. Kenny Powell, 7th. Dalton Collins, 8th. And because of the spin from Dan Shamoon, it will be Josh Schaffner and Corey Cook to round out the top 10 at the conclusion of stage 1.
Absolutely. Now we're going to see some of these guys pitting, and hopefully they make some changes to these cars, because some of them are just extremely loose. There goes our competition yellow here. We're end of stage 1. Great job winning that one, Boyd Hogan. 2nd place, Travis Manning. 3rd is Matthew McMeekin. 4th is Greg Wyszynski. 5th, Chris Johnson. 6th will be Brian Johnson. 7th, Kenny Powell. 8th, Dalton Collins. 9th, Josh Schaffner. 10th is Corey Cook.
We'll take a quick stop here. We will give a thanks to some of the sponsors here that help keep the lights on here at the ISCA Association. We'll be back with more from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in just a few minutes.
ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. Get yours today at thebuttkicker.com and be sure to use our 20% discount promo code ISCA20.
Cardiology, I don't have the heart. Pulmonary doctor, no cigar. I can't diagnose a simple cold or flu, but if your engine's got a cough, I know what to do. Give it 6 of these and wash it down with this. A new air filter ought to help it catch its breath. Napa know-how. Napa know-how.
Welcome back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway under caution for the first time tonight. For stage number 1, Boyd Hogan was the stage winner. We'll talk to him when pit stops get cycled through. You probably noticed there's only 3 drivers behind the safety car. That is because, of course, well, shall we say, Al, the pace car is a bit fast around this facility. Faster than some of these corners than these race cars are at race pace. That's because the pace car for tonight is the Porsche 911 GT3 pace car. Michael Grant, meanwhile, has pitted. He'll be getting a new oil, no doubt, for boxing under closed pits. Hogan will be leading them down, though. So I think 4 tires and fuel will definitely be the good strategy to go by. We saw there was the same case of Watkins Glen, and then drivers tried to stretch it to the end. I'm very curious to see here if it's going to be a very similar situation tonight. I'm not sure if that'll be the case. We'll have to wait and see. I would honestly be a little surprised if we didn't see people trying to stretch it out towards the end of the race.
Sorry about that. No, I had a little technical difficulties. I'm back with you now. Yeah, I would think that you'd want to get tires every chance you can here because you're eating them up so much. I don't think anybody's going to be brave enough. But, hey, they've proved me wrong before, so I don't think anybody's going to be brave enough to take no fuel or no tire pit stop here. I don't know. Let's see what happens.
Well, if you guys like Brian Johnson, you absolutely need the tires by now. Oh, look at this! Travis Manning beats out Boyd Hogan. Hogan will not be starting first place. I think McMeegan might have got Hogan as well. So Boyd Hogan could be starting as far back as 3rd place. Now, that being said, he'll get through it fairly quickly, but he won't be able to just run away with it like we previously thought.
Well, yeah, but he was in clean air. So him not being in clean air this time, it might be a problem. So let's see if we can get a hold of our Stage 1 winner, Boyd Hogan, now Kozlowski in the booth. You got a cap?
Yeah, I got you.
Boyd, brother, I just, let me start out by, first of all, saying I'm sorry to hear about your grandmother. She was a huge fan of our series here, and we're going to miss her dearly, bud.
Appreciate it, man. Means a lot.
Congratulations on that first race, or first stage win there, bud. You made it look easy. You're starting out, looks like you're going to be in 3rd this time. Is it, was that by design, you think? Did you do some changes in the pit stop here?
Yeah, I threw a couple changes in. It's just, I don't know, I'm too tight in the lefts and a little free in the right, so I was just trying to fix that a little bit.
Well, have a 6-second gap between 2nd place. I don't know if I'd have messed with it. So, but congratulations on that, brother, and I'll let you get back behind the wheel here, and good luck on the 2nd stage.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Al.
That was your stage 1 winner, Boyd Hogan, giving us a good old talk. As always, I'd love to have Boyd Hogan up on out here, and it's good to finally have him back up in the car as well here for the Irish Stock Car Association ButtKicker Cup Series. 1 lap to green here, Al. I'm hoping at least this time by. Not sure how we'd go with the second one. That being said, Mike Grant is 6 laps down, so I might just get another lap. I think we'll have to wait and see, though. Some cars are still trying to catch up to the field, by the way. You can see a good portion of them coming off of turn 13 now. There's some guys as far back, though, as turn 5. They're going to have to scramble to catch this thing before we go green.
Yeah, this has been the nightmare on these road courses. If you go a lap down and get a wave around or something, you almost cannot catch the field before it goes green again. And at that point, you may give a driver a black flag. So it doesn't look like we're going to have that problem this race, but we do have some guys that are laying back a little bit here.
Well, they got a whole lap before they go green. Yeah, they don't want to double it up just yet, especially with some of the tighter corners in that second half of the lap. And I can understand why. The one thing you don't want is to, find yourself out of the race when it even begins. And we talk about pace cars going too quick. I'll tell you what, Al, there's nothing worse than having a pace car going so fast that almost the entire lap is going faster than the Cup cars. That was the situation with the league I run on Friday nights. And when we went to Sonoma back at the start of the year, the pace car was going like 70 miles an hour. Half the track, the cars can't even reach 60. So it was like ridiculous how fast the car was going. It was going so fast, we had to add on an extra lap to each caution just because by the time we were 1 to green and coming around to take that green flag, there were only 4 cars lined up behind the safety car. It's insane sometimes what iRacing thinks of when they're making these. But that being said, this track was not designed for road course racing. Well, at least not for stock car road course racing, you got to remember. This is the old layout that was used from 2008 to 2013. So stock cars necessarily weren't even thinking about driving it. This is back when it was both an Indy car layout as well as a Formula One layout. And those cars can keep up easily with this pace car.
Well, yeah, you got to look at that pace car. That pace car is a Porsche, okay? That's a road course car. When you talk about these heavy stock cars trying to make lefts and rights as quickly as that Porsche does, you're impossible to think that. So here we go. We're going to go green this time by.
Now that we're through the treacherous turn 10, as we had actually just heard one of the drivers down there, I think it was Grossi, saying like that corner is more dangerous under caution than it is under green. And I can't say I disagree with him, but the pace car will be coming around through turn 13 this time by. Paul Olsen will not be catching the field in time. He'll have to do a bit of catch-up from further down in the field. The last of the drivers, though, Chuck Phillips, has caught this field. And the field is stacked up, ready to go racing. Once again, pace car pulls down to pit road. Manning with a huge launch. Boyd Hogan also catches McMeekin sleeping. We're green flag once again for stage 2.
Let's see how they all do this turn 1 here. This is where it's treacherous. Let's see if everybody pulls it off safely. We got a couple side-by-sides here. Oh, everybody kind of pinches it right in there, funnels it in. Perfect.
There's a very lonely Paul Olsen crossing start finish, and there's the rest of the field just to show how far back he still was. There was no way he was going to catch that field in time. Wayne Grossi still side by side with Corey Cook, just behind Greer and Drumhill looking to do battle, with Greer trying to work his way up through the field. Up in front, they're also side by side now for P3. McMeekin falling back. Wachinski trying to take this one around the outside of turn number 7 onto the back straightaway. Oh, McMeekin steps that back end down. He's going to lose out spots as well to Brian Johnson, along to Dalton Collins into the braking zone of 9.
Well, Brian Johnson is trying to push it in and dive it in deep there. He wants that third place position back. He wants back to the front of this thing.
Absolutely does, and he's still being aggressive, trying to get it. Collins trying the inside, has to swing wide. That checks up McMeekin, who checks up Kenny Powell. That gives Brian Johnson a bit of breathing room to work with up there with Greg Wachinski as they exit turn 12, and now through turn 13. So it looks like, all things considered, relatively clean stage 2 start. That being said, we saw how turn 1 went the first time they came through there at speed. Oh, Powell clips the wall a little bit. Just off of the turn 13 exit, trying to catch up to Matthew McMeekin. Looks for the inside, not close enough to actually go for the position. Collins with a big one. Oh, look out! McMeekin gets dumped by Kenny Powell coming into the braking zone at turn 1. Shamoon and Grossi are side by side, just up the road from them. Wayne Grossi trying to fight it out with Dan Shamoon, who's dropped back a couple of spots. since the restart and is still trying to work his way up. Battle for the lead is on as well. Hogan up the inside of Manning at turn 6. Trying to go for the switchback through 7. Bumps him up there. Hogan side by side down from 7 to 8. And harder on the brakes. Hogan taking this one around the outside. Pinches Manning in. The 22 car is going to try to fight this one back, though. Through 9. And the left-hand hairpin at 10. Cannot get there, though. Put Boyd Hogan securely in the lead, especially as Manning steps the back end out. Boyd Hogan goes back to the point. That leaves just behind Brian Johnson-Wachinski to battle for third.
Yeah, that is quite the battle. It looks like it's Greg Wachinski's going to let Brian have it here. And see where Brian, he loses it a little bit there, but he gets it back under control. Brian is back to third.
Oh, look out. Corey Cook having a big moment out of turn 11 up through 13. Has to send cars scrambling, particularly Robert Pattengale, who had to scramble to the inside and into the pit road at Access Road and had to come on out of the turn 13 just for entering pit road. So Pattengale having a scary moment.
Yeah, with some fancy maneuvering there.
Schaffner and Gracio looking close as well. I saw Schaffner close up. We're talking like 200 meters just into the braking zone of turn 1. When Gracio was going defensive, and looks like Manning got past Boyd Hogan at some point in the lap. So this must have been way in the back coming into turn number 1 here, Al. There's no other way he could have gotten past otherwise. So this battle for the lead raging on big time. Boyd Hogan is not going to be able to walk away with this one in stage 2. Manning cuts over to the right side. Will Hogan, look down the inside of turn 8. Doesn't look like he will. Oh, there's the bumper.
Gives him a bumper. He's letting him know I am still here. He made some changes there. He gives him another shove.
Oh, this is good, hard racing here. This is what you like to see. That's like a short track section, that section of racetrack there. You have to get so close and so tight, you really have to move them out of the way, much like Martinsville in many regards.
Yeah, Boyd is probably thinking to himself, I shouldn't have given him so many bumpers, because it kind of gave an opportunity for Travis to pull a little bit ahead of him there, but I think Boyd's going to close it in on his front stretch, and we'll probably see Boyd's going to brake a little bit later than Travis coming into turn 1 here.
Can't get there. That's a tuck back in line. The 96 Reaper Speed Labs car is going to stick with it. Oh, dives to the inside of 2. Still can't get there. Maybe turn 4, though. Certainly not through 3 here.
Yeah, what he's got to do is he's got to try to trick Travis Manning here. He's got to make him believe he's going to go to the high side, and when Travis goes to try to block on the high side, he can cut it in low here. He's going to try to, he tried to stick a nose in there, and Travis kind of closed that door a little bit there. This is not an area where you want to try to pass, but Boyd is putting the pressure on Travis Manning to hope he makes a mistake.
Hogan ran a little bit wide, though, I noticed, out through turn 7. That allows Manning to get a little bit of breathing room into turn 8 here. Tucked him back in line. With the golf course, you can see just over on the left side. Hogan is definitely a lot better, I'm starting to notice, with the mid-corner. But Travis Manning is just so much better on the brakes than Hogan is. He's good on entry, and Hogan just trips up too much in the middle corner to get a good exit.
Yeah. Boyd has not been used to being in the second position here. He's used to being up front, but obviously with his first stage win here, he was 6 seconds in front of Travis Manning. So if Boyd can just be patient, maybe Travis Manning's car is not a good long-run setup in it.
Battle for the lead still raging strong between Travis Manning and Boyd Hogan. No move will be made into turn 1. I'm also keeping tabs on the battle for 5th place between Dalton Collins and Chris Johnson, which is also looking tight, but as I say that starts to split apart big time. There were nose and tail out of 12. Oh, but Collins goes deep and goes off, and Johnson follows both drivers in 5th and 6th place off the track. Collins rejoins right in front of Kenny Powell. Johnson joins in front of Collins, almost 3 wide into turn 3 for the position. Collins somehow holds on to the spot. That's what Shamoon side by side with Kenny Powell. Chaos in the back end of the top 10 as they're trying to scramble positions. Up in front, Brian Johnson spins out, loses 3rd place now. What is going on here in stage 2 at Indianapolis?
These guys are growing impatient. I mean, this is not the end of the race here, guys. Calm it down a little bit.
Up in front, that battle for the lead is still going strong as well, and it's looking ever closer between these two drivers. I mean, you never know what's quite going to happen here. This could end up being one heck of a battle between these two guys. Hogan close there to Manning. You saw him almost give it the bumper coming out onto the oval again. Up through 12, now for 13. You think Hogan's going to get him in one?
Absolutely not. Travis, when he gets on the main track here, you see how he just pulls away. He has got such a fast hot rod here. The only time Boyd has a chance is in the infield around these turns. That's the only time he's going to be able to pass him.
Already just 3 laps to go in stage 2. This stage is flying by. Travis Manning driving for his life at the moment. Hogan gets the crossover for 2, but Manning leaves that door shut at into the 3. Cannot cross over yet again. Boyd Hogan is not having an easy time getting past Travis Manning here. It's an interesting little thing to see. You wonder if maybe Hogan's driving a little bit conservatively as well, though. Well, he recognizes he's not really in a championship, but he just needs to finish this race, and he's in the Super Cup Series
he's
playoffs.
in it now. He's in it now. If he can just hold it. No, he didn't make it. But remember,
Cuts back.
Boyd, there he is, right there. That's going to give him an opportunity there. So let's see how this next left here. Somebody's going to have to check up. This could be a problem.
Side by side, Hogan deeper on the brakes, round the outside of turn 8. This has worked before. Can Manning get him into the middle section? Oh, they has to back out to avoid running Boyd Hogan over, but Hogan takes the lead.
Yeah, that was almost, I mean, Travis, if he wouldn't have checked up, he'd have spun him.
Oh, boy. What a run. What a drive indeed in the battle for the race lead. And it might not be over yet. Pit road does close this time by. The stage has flown by. That battle for P5, by the way, is still nice and tight. Shamoon versus Cook. Check that. Shamoon versus Collins. Much quicker, or much closer this time through turn 13 than the last time. Dan Shamoon stepping the back end out. So was Dalton Collins out through turn 13. Shamoon looks for the inside, pulling alongside the 95, down into turn number 1. Deeper on the brakes is the Mustang, but he's going to be a bit deep here through the apex. Collins tries to cross back. Can't get there, though. It will be Dan Shamoon to maintain 5th place.
Yeah, if you get in that inside coming into turn 1 there, you absolutely need to be right on point. You know, that the driver on the outside is going to check up, and that's what just happened there to give Dan Shamoon that position.
Exciting stage 2 this one has been. We're still watching these battles just at the tail end of the top 10. Still 4 stage points. 5 points to the stage winner, 4.5 points for second, 4 for third, and so on and so forth. Down to 10th who gets half a point. We'll go to the intricacies of how the championship has been shaken up so far in this race a little bit further towards the end of this race. Looks like things are going to die off a little bit now, though, towards the end of stage 2. Nobody's necessarily close enough to make these looks. Boyd Hogan has started to pull away from Travis Manning. So the 96 car wanting to get the hammer down, not necessarily wanting to, shall we say, be very quick out there. He's wanted to put as much speed as possible between himself and Manning.
Yeah, he knows how hard Travis Manning was to pass. He does not want to give that opportunity a chance to rise again. Now we're going to round out this stage. We're going to come up to that lucky question you asked. Who's going to roll the dice and stay out?
I wanted to predict nobody. I mean, you remember Watkins Glen? Guys were stretching until the end of the race. I want to, honestly, if Travis Manning is the driver in second place, I want to ask him the question if that's going to be the strategy in this race as well. I'm not sure if that will be the case, but you never know. Final lap of the stage, McMeekin and Schaffner do battling for the final half a point in the stage in the battle for 11th and 10th. McMeekin tried to look around the outside in turn 2, but nothing doing. Oh, but Schaffner pushes wide. That opens the door to 4.
Well, look at Kenny Powell, that 24 machine. He wants to get up in the mix of this thing. He is right on the bumper here, waiting for a problem, waiting for Collins to make a mistake there. He is going to capitalize on it.
Waiting and hoping. The question is, will the opportunity properly arise? Remains to be seen. Boyd Hogan is now coming out through turn number 12, though. and is now heading towards that final corner out through turn 13. It was a hard-fought win, but it will be a win nonetheless for Boyd Hogan in stage number 2. The second stage goes to Boyd Hogan, taking victory in the second stage in Indianapolis.
We got the 45 inside of the 24 here, and I don't think he's going to be able to capitalize on that pass there. And it looks like we're going to finish just where we are. It's going to be Boyd Hogan. He's won stage 1 and 2 now. Travis Manning in second. Greg Wachinski third. Brian Johnson fourth. Looks like it's going to be Dan Shamoon fifth. Dalton Collins sixth. Kenny Powell seventh. Austin Greer eighth. Chris Johnson ninth. Running up the top 10 will be Josh Schaffner.
Stage 2 is officially complete. We will take another quick step away. We'll be back with more from IMS in just a little while.
Cardiology, I don't have a heart. Pulmonary doctor, no cigar. I can't diagnose a simple cold or flu, but if your engine's got a cough, I know what to do. Give it 6 of these and wash it down with this. A new air filter ought to help it catch its breath. Napa know how. Napa know how.
ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. Get yours today at TheButtKicker.com and be sure to use our 20% discount promo code ISCA20.
Back for more from the Brickyard. Indianapolis Motor Speedway has certainly seen some exciting racing, but today, though, has been, well, no secret. Stage 1, we saw more spins, I think, than we did actual racing. That has not been the case, though, for Stage 2, particularly with Boyd Hogan and Travis Manning, who were just going back and forth constantly all throughout the first 6-7 laps or so of the 9 laps of the first stage. Amazing stuff. And now they're coming up the pit road here, Al. I would not be surprised if when everybody comes down pit road with 4 tires and fuel, it's a big stuff trying to stretch at the end. Bit of a delay there on our second advertisement, it would seem. Technology. It's amazing when it works exactly how you want to. There's nothing ever wrong with technology, Al. It never screws up, and we always have it go our way. That's a well-known fact. Life is fair. You always get everything your way, especially with technology. Am I right?
I don't think he believed what he just said.
There might have been a Well, to prove my point, literally just seconds later after I was going on my little rant there, we have another commercial. Well, now that pit stops are complete, Hogan is out in front still. Check. Yes, Hogan is still out in front. I do not have that mixed up this time around. So we're going to bring up our Stage 2 P2 finisher. Travis Manning joins us up at the broadcast booth. Travis, this is Dola Rempel. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
What a run with you and Boyd Hogan. We were not expecting you to give Hogan that much of a run in Stage 2.
Yeah, I tried everything I could. I know I don't have the car that he has, and honestly, he just drives this place a little better than I do. But I figured if I just make him work for a few laps, at least I got a couple laps led. So, just trying my best and hold him off as long as I could, and I did what I could. And then I was pretty much out of front tire by the time he got by me.
There's one question that's been lingering on my mind here, Travis. Back at Watkins Glen, we saw a lot of people decide to push it to the end after stopping at Stage 2. Yeah,
we're already on it.
That's what I was going to ask. Is that the same strategy here, or?
I lost sleep over it. That's the best I'll put it, and I have not forgotten last week. I'll leave it there.
Oh boy. Well, this should be an interesting race then, if that implies what I'm thinking it implies. But we got one lap to green here. Travis, before I let you go, anybody you'd like to shout out for us here for your number 22?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Everyone that helps us 22 go around the track, Bruzy Racewear, Frontline Esports, everyone that helped work on this car. It's it's definitely a good car. We're missing just a little bit, but it's definitely a heck of a car. I'm real proud of everyone that put the time that we did into it to at least get us up here running second so far.
Well, thank you, Travis, for taking the time to chat with us here. I know you're a busy guy down there, so we'll move you back down to your Frontline channel. Best of luck in Stage 3.
Thank you, guys.
Well, Al, you heard it there. He has lost some sleep over it. Do you think that means he's going to go to the end or no?
I definitely think he hinted towards that.
It certainly sounded like it. I think that's going to be the strategy. Go to the end. It'll work for the Glen. This race is relatively the same length. Why not?
I think this is a little bit bigger, isn't it? A little bit longer?
It's a longer track, but it's the same mileage length. This track is only about a 1/10 of a mile longer than the Glen is. That being said, there's 4 laps taken off of the total lap count as well.
I definitely think that we can run this thing to the end. If you ask me, I think that's not without the realm of possibility.
Coming up to treacherous turn 10 under caution before we send this thing back green flag racing. Stage 3 will be the longest stage on the night. 21 laps total will be run. 22 laps, excuse me, total will be run under the green flag conditions for the third and final stage on the night. Now, what do you think? Are we going to see the same race we saw in Stage 2? Aggressive through the end? Or do you think people will be a bit more conservative now that they've got some time to play with?
Well, they've got to be aggressive in the beginning on the road course. They've got to be aggressive in the beginning to get those positions in order to pull away from the cars behind them. So I think we're going to see some pretty aggressive driving right off the jump.
This time, looks like everybody has caught the pace car. As I say that, I look back to see Corey Cook at the same place Paul Olsen was in, unfortunately. So the hands have switched for Paul Olsen and Corey Cook. Pace car does pull down. Hogan leads it back to the green. Oh, big wheel spin for Travis Manning. Not a good launch at all for the Frontline 22 machine. After just looking strong to maybe go over Boyd Hogan, doesn't look that that'll be the case. Down to the turn number 1. Shamoon and Wachinski, side by side into the first corner. We haven't seen any major issues here on the opening laps of any of the stages, and it'll be the same case in Stage 3.
I am so surprised that worked. They're still side by side, 2 by 2 by 2 here, and they're 3 wide at one point. These guys are just going at it.
That was Dan Shamoon that they ended up going 3 wide with. Dalton Collins goes 2 for 2. Picks up a spot from Brian Johnson, then makes another run around Dan Shamoon. What a good start so far. Greer is now looking down the inside of Kenny Powell after getting by Dan Shamoon. Oh, cuts back inside, but Shamoon is there and covers him off 3 wide again with Chris Johnson on the right. Oh, this thing gonna fly down to the 8. Shamoon backs out for the middle, lock up from Chris Johnson, but they single file it out on the exit. Thank goodness.
Boy, he's beating the pants off the back of that bumper there, that 23 is. Eating up that 48's rear bumper. These guys are battling like this is the last lap, Nolan, the last lap. I told you, they've got to get up there and get a position to stay in there. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, they're kind of comfortable. They're all right staying right where they are. There's a good distance between them. They don't have the pressure of behind them of anybody, but from the sixth place on back, there's pressure everywhere.
Understatement of the race thus far. There's a lot of pressure all over the racetrack. Even now, Boyd Hogan has not been able to pull away up at the sharp end of the field. Travis Manning has been slowly getting a little bit closer to him in this opening run. I think Manning's trying to push extra hard and try to catch Boyd Hogan and maybe put him behind him. Hogan might be backing off a little bit, save some in the tank for the later stages. That's the thing we've seen him do very, very commonly in other races here on the ISCA.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a fuel mileage situation we got going on here. I have not ran this car but a couple laps this week, so I don't know how far you can run on a fuel tank here, but Boyd may be saving some. He may let Travis have it, knowing that Travis has probably already shown him that he eats up his equipment, and he let him know during race chatter that his front tires were eating up pretty well. So you don't want to let your competitors know about everything that your car is doing.
Closing up between Collins and Johnson. Brian Johnson tries to cross over in 12. Collins ran a little bit wide through turn 11. The Reaper Speed laps 95. Chevrolet is able to hold strong. Oh, but he's got to back off a bit. Brian Johnson is going to get alongside him through turn 12. Takes him around the outside of 13. Brian Johnson pulls himself up to 4th place. What a run there. Oh, Johnson comes in the wall. Slams the inside wall. Back to the outside. Takes out Kenny Powell as well. And Austin Greer.
Cars involved. Greer got
Oh, no. Oh, and look out.
A lot of chucking up going on there.
Oh, my gosh. Kenny Powell, I think, just scared a lot of drivers. I want to get a ride on board, if he can, with Matthew McMeekin and Wayne Grossi. They both need a change of underwear after that one out, particularly Grossi, who was the closer of the two to getting wiped out by Kenny Powell.
Yeah, they absolutely had to wheel that car. That's Grossi, when he comes around this turn there, he sees nothing but wreckage in front of him, and he doesn't know where to go. There's smoke. Do I go low? Do I go high? Oh, barely missed. Great job, Wayne Grossi.
What a move there. He read that like a charm. Had no time to juke back to the left or would have wrecked himself. Great instincts there for Wayne Grossi to get that car through with minimal damage. I think he did barely get clipped by Powell. Left front has some damage. Oh, my gosh.
What that little incident did is that gave first through fourth a lot more breathing room. They have a good, solid 6-second breathing room behind them. They don't have to really push it too hard. Looks like even 5th place is comfortable.
That really leaves the battle for 10th and 11th at the moment that we're watching out there on the track between Matthew McMeekin and Wayne Grossi. Going to take this one around through turn 13. I wouldn't be surprised if McMeekin didn't make a move with how close he got there to Wayne Grossi. That being said, quite a bit slower off the final corner as well.
What's kind of shocking, Matthew must have got some damage on the car on that 41 machine, because remember, beginning of this race, he was very competitive, and he was running up in the top 3. So he had some speed in there. Something must have happened between the start of this race and now.
Well, he's not going to help himself by bringing it like that. Went way too deep, missed the apex of 1 entirely by a country mile, nearly ran into the grass as well. That's giving Wayne Grossi quite a bit of breathing room as well. Oh, but Grossi's sliding sideways. McMeekin avoids him. Grossi still in the grass at turn 6. Comes back on right before 7. Side by side with Shamoon. Shamoon also goes through. So McMeekin losing 4 or 5 spots in 1 run.
I am awfully surprised that Austin Greer's 45 is still moving like he's moving. I mean, he took a dead center mass plow in the front end of that car in that last wreck here. And he is catching Chris Johnson. It looks like he's about to give some pressure to the 5th place position.
Greer has been an aggressive driver all race long. He's been one of the higher movers as well. 12th place is where he started. He's worked his way 6 spots up to now run in the 6th position. The most spots gained so far in the race entirely is Paul Olsen, who's +7 on the day. Now, that being said, there's only 15 cars on track now out of the, check that, 14 cars on track now out of the 19 that originally started this race. So the field number has dropped significantly. That's not to say that we have not seen some good racing, though. I mean, this is looking fantastic. I'm still watching Shamoon and Drumhill. That position for P9 just changed hands down the front straight towards turn number 1. Shamoon started to work his way through the field as well.
Nolan, I'm hearing a little whisper from these drivers that they're pitting. So maybe you can't make it on this full field. Are we at a 75% fuel tank at this?
We are. Every track.
Maybe they can't make it because Randy Drumhiller just signaled in that he was going to pit. That's early, and that's pretty wise of him to do. He's going to relinquish 9th position. But I imagine you're just going to do like a splash and go kind of a situation. Maybe 2 gallons, maybe 3 gallons, and just get back on the track. I wouldn't change my tires.
So we'll continue to watch with Randy Drumhiller here and see if he comes on in. I'm keeping my eyes on the leaders so far. None of the guys up in front have given any signs they're going to pit. They're all staying out for the time being. So I'd be a bit surprised if saw guys like Boyd Hogan come on down. They're historically a lot better at saving fuel as well. Should be an interesting run to see them. Drumhiller, does he make the turn right on the pit road? He doesn't. Staying out.
Yeah, maybe he's second thought that. I mean, it would be a smart move in my opinion to come in and get a splash. But he's so far back in the field here. I mean, he's going to relinquish 10th position to get that pit stop. It would be smart for him to do. I would probably have done it. If I can't make it to the end, I'd rather come out of there, come out of 10th position and lose that than run out of fuel.
Third and fourth are looking closer. Brian Johnson has run down Greg Wyszynski. So this should be entertaining between the G&G teammates, if memory serves me right. I know for the fact that Wyszynski is from Gas and Go Racing. I believe, yes, I can see the badge on the back of Brian Johnson's machine. So potentially a teammate battle for P3 Al. What's your reckoning on that?
Well, it's not going to be too much of a battle with Greg Wyszynski going off the track here. And then there goes Brian. I mean, we're back and forth, back and forth. That's going to give brother Chris Johnson in that 48 machine enough of a little bit of a benefit to get to the bumper of Brian Johnson.
That's kind of funny that it looks like Wyszynski was kind of lazy. Like, no, you can have the spot. And then Johnson's like, no, I insist. Goes off himself. Swap for P5. Chris Johnson has deliberately given the spot away to Austin Greer. Moved high in 13, said, take it, Austin. So Austin Greer not wanting to fight Chris Johnson all too much.
Well, the run that Brian Johnson in that 4 machine, he is trying everything he can to get back to the bumper of Greg Wyszynski. We've seen this play off earlier in the race when he was just driving this car extremely loose. He lost. He spun it completely out. So all Greg Wyszynski has to do is just be patient. Hit his marks, make his braking points, and he won't lose that position because Brian is certainly driving the wheels off that car.
With some battles still yet to shake up, I have a feeling we should probably take a quick swing on over to the ButtKicker Midway race break. Forgot to do that in this one and the last, as a matter of fact. Hogan leads with Manning in second. Wyszynski sits third. Brian Johnson is in fourth with Austin Greer and Chris Johnson to the battle for fifth and sixth. Just behind them, Shopner and McKeegan are looking tight for seventh and eighth. Dan Shamoon, Randy Drumhill have rounded out the top 10 with Robert Panko, Wayne Grossi, Craig Johnson, Paul Olsen, the last cars on track. So far, marked as DNFs are Kenny Powell, Dalton Collins, Corey Cook, Chuck Phillips, and Michael Grant, rounding out 15th to the 19th car in this 19-car field for the race here today. So it's been a good run so far. I want to look back at this battle for 7th and 8th if we can here out, because it is getting tighter every lap, and McMeekin is right on the back of Josh Schaffner.
Yeah, I tell you what, Nolan, if any of these drivers...
No, he's not
really
anymore. Oh, he was on the
good,
back of him.
A good chunk of these drivers are running with a ButtKicker, and I'm sure that ButtKicker is just going out of control right now and letting them know that their rear end is sliding out, and they're just ignoring it. You have to utilize that tool. That is a very important tool. If you have that on your rig, it will tell you when your rear end is breaking loose and when you're losing traction on that rear. So you really want to pay attention to that butt kicker and understand what it's telling you.
Still green flag racing here from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Tell you what, I mean, let's take a ride aboard with Dan Shamoon in the battle for 9th and 8th. We'll see what it looks like in the 23 cars he tries to run down Matthew McMeekin for 8th.
A lot of that seesawing on that steering wheel. You'll see that all race long. You're probably up in the 3rd or 4th gear by now, but you downshift in the 2nd coming into the sharp left. And right in this next corner, you'll stay in 2nd. And as you come off this sharp right gear, you're going to make a downshift into 1st gear. If you don't do that correctly, you could end up spinning.
And the TV cameras really do not do it justice here, Al, do they, with just how tight some of these corners are. I mean, McMeekin has he's been kind of struggling so far all day through those corners. In fact, you just saw in that past onboard here with Dan Shamoon that McMeekin, he kind of went a little off center there, a little off line for turn 8, and then kind of lost the line there for turn 9 as well. It's been an interesting run here, and well, Al, I have a feeling we have a surprise visitor. Kenny Powell joins us up at the broadcast booth. Powell, you're 4 laps down now, down to the pits. Race hasn't quite gone the way you were hoping for.
No, let's check on my audio, make sure y'all can hear me first.
No, we can hear you.
Yeah, I was having a good run, I thought. Made a little contact with Matthew. I apologize for that. But no, I mean, everything was going kind of as I expected it to, and just was in the wrong place, wrong time.
A lot of road courses this season, and quite a few unorthodox tracks as well. The Super Speedway was, of course, 2 weeks ago. Watkins Glen was back there as well. What's your take? It's been an entertaining season so far, that's for sure.
Yeah, I can't be happier with the season we're having. I mean, the drivers we got in here, the competition we got, it's been some exciting racing. And, man, I'm going back, since I'm sitting in my car, I can have the option to see some of the replays. And, man, the show that Boyd and Travis are putting on tonight is incredible.
Al, you got anything for Kenny Powell, the 24 G&G driver?
No, I don't. I'm just sad to see that he got caught up in that melee of mess. He had absolutely no place to go. No avoidance ability there at all. So, how much minutes you got left there, Kenny, to get that car back on the track?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get back out. I'll be able to get out for the to take a victory lap maybe with Boyd or Travis, whoever comes out the victor there. But no, my option and required is probably going to be up right at the race end.
Well, Powell, we were up here trying to contemplate, and I don't know if you can answer this or if it's going to give away any secrets or anything like that, but could you have made it to the end of this race after that last pit stop on fuel?
Yeah, I think this race was going to play out just like Watkins Glen did, where we were going to be close. So I was saving fuel on that caution lap before we went green, just to make sure that I was going to have enough. And I think we're all in the same boat, just like we were last week at Watkins Glen.
So we potentially could see some folks out here driving that are going to run out of fuel.
It could definitely happen.
Here we go. The 41 machine is diving to the inside of Schaffner. And he's got 23. That's going to try to make it 3 wide. 3 wide. Shamoon. 41's not going to give it up too easy there. They're going to battle side by side here. And they're going to come up on this main part of the track. And this is going to look like if Shamoon can pull it off, he's going to pull away from him easily. And he does.
What a move from Dan Shamoon. 3 wide down the inside of turn 10. Are you kidding me? I haven't seen that one ever. I mean, I've been doing this esports thing out for like 2 years. 2.5, almost 3. Never seen that in my life. Looks like you might have McMeekin cutting back down the inside of Dan Shamoon for turn number 1. The 41 car goes too deep, though. So does Shamoon. That opens the door for Schaffner to cut back in and try to maybe pick up another spot. doesn't look like he'll quite be able to get there. Tell you what a great run, though, for these three drivers. All three of them swapping hands now through the first section of corners.
Yeah, Matthew Meekin has shown that he knows how to wheel that thing there. He knew exactly what he needed to do. He needed to get to that inside of Dan Shamoon in order for Dan not to be able to turn in on turn 1 easily.
Coming up to 11 laps remaining, Boyd Hogan still out in front by 8 seconds. So far, the battle's on track. You got P3 and P4, Greg Wyszynski and Brian Johnson. That battle slowly closing on in. About 3/4 of a second separate them. Austin Greer, Chris Johnson, half a second separating 5th and 6th place. Matthew McMeekin and Dan Shamoon are about 3/4 of a second apart, but that battle is quickly breaking up as well, with Shamoon dropping further and further down the order. So looks like we might have ourselves 2 battles, both for spots inside the top 5 and 1 for a spot in the podium.
Yeah, the battle between the G&G drivers, Brian Johnson and Greg Wyszynski, has kind of settled up a little bit here. They've kind of calmed it down. They've almost got a second gap between those two for 3rd and 4th. The closest battle on the track right now is going to be, it looks like Shamoon and McMeekin. Everybody else is kind of like 2 or 3 seconds apart from each other.
I'm still watching this run here between Wyszynski and Brian Johnson. It has split up now. I think Brian Johnson had a bit of a bad turn 12. That kind of cost him some time into Greg Wyszynski, but he was closing. They're about 3/4 of a second apart. So I think Johnson might have some speed underneath him. But you also heard it as well. These guys got to start watching their fuel as well. You do not want this race to end up with you running out of fuel when you're on the back straightaway, because you're not making it back around to the front stretch.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Brian Johnson is kind of gun shy there, because if you remember last week, he did run out of fuel. I think he was in 3rd or 4th and ended up finishing 8th after running out of fuel. I mean, so he may be a little gun shy and just trying to preserve enough just to make sure he can make it before he tries to make a move on Greg Wyszynski.
And I don't blame him for wanting to do that either. It's one of those things where it's like, you make the one mistake, it's an honest mistake, anybody does it. You make the mistake for the second time in the very next race, you start to look a little bit silly then, don't you?
Well, you know, I don't know anybody that would slam their foot in a door twice. You know, they learn from their first time they made the mistake, and they don't do it again here. But it's kind of hard to tell what Brian's doing here. Is he saving or not? Because he's still stepping that rear end off a little bit there. Is he trying to get to Greg Wyszynski? I just can't tell you what he's trying to do right now.
Could be tire wear. Your turn 13 really wears down the left side. There's a lot of left-hand corners on this racetrack. In fact, it wears down the left side so much that in the 2005 Indy or U.S. Grand Prix in Formula One, there was only 6 cars that ran because that corner was so hard on tires. Swap for 5th place. Austin Greer loses a spot to Chris Johnson, who went down the inside of turn 5, excuse me. Greer cannot cut back for 6th. That gives Chris Johnson the 5th position on the track.
Well, it's not typical frontline. We don't have many frontline drivers out here in the top 10 this week, do we? Did they all show up this week? Do we know?
I think there's a few guys that are missing from that crew, but
Manning is frontline.
Oh, Manning's frontline, and then Shamoon's frontline. There was I'm missing one driver.
Will Barlow knows frontline. Justin Levine tried.
There it is.
Well, Justin Levine is also frontline. He tried to get in here, and he is in here now. Unfortunately, a bit late, but he is on course. I've actually just noticed that. Justin Levine making his first appearance on the track, on his out lap at the moment. So Levine looking to maybe just log a lap, score some points.
Right now, he stands a chance of, he can stay on the track. Well, no, he won't gain any positions. He's only got about 12 laps, so he won't gain anything. But to not have a DNF, that's the key thing.
Absolutely. Tell you what, why don't we ride on board with Matthew McMeekin? We'll take a step back, give our voices a bit of a rest. We'll be back with more from the ISCA ButtKicker Cup Series at Indianapolis Motor Speedway in just a few moments. Well, back for more. I believe you saw it as well in that onboard camera. Matt McMeekin getting past Austin Greer. Greer with a bit of a mistake, pushing too wide out of turn number 3. Gives the spot up to McMeekin. So McMeekin got an easy spot there. Up into 6th. Seeing if he can maybe run down Chris Johnson for 5th place. He'll be able to do so if Johnson keeps stepping the back end out like he is.
Well, they roughly have about 6 laps left, which is roughly 8 minutes. I mean, they better do something quick here. But if hasty decisions makes for mistakes. So let's see if these drivers, the tight race between 5th, 6th, and 7th, that's Johnson, McMeekin, and Austin Greer. They're all like within a half a second of each other. All it takes is one of those drivers to make a mistake.
Number 41 car will be reeling in the 48, no doubt, down this front straightaway into turn number 1. We've seen a lot of long passes and guys deep on the brakes. I don't know if it'll happen this time around. I think it's a bit too far back to have a realistic dive unless he wants to clean out the 40 in the process, but he's close enough that he'll be able to certainly close up the gap into turn 1.
Yeah, it just takes one driver to check up sooner than another driver, and it looks like Chris Johnson has given Matthew McMeekin an opportunity to catch the bumper really quick here by checking up a lot sooner. Or Matthew's checking up late.
I honestly think the way it's been so far, McMeekin is more confident on the brakes than Chris Johnson is. He was running up in the front, don't you forget. I mean, this is a guy who we saw well up into the top 5, had that issue, though, in Stage 2, and he got dumped out of the top 10 as a result. He's now, though, back in the top 10 and maybe trying to claw up into the top 5 once more. He does have 5.5 laps to do so. It's a really real chance that he might want to take here in the next little while.
And this is basically the real only battle that we have. We've got Greg Wyszynski. He's closing in. He's about 2.5 seconds behind the second place Travis Manning. But and then we've got Brian Johnson is behind Greg Wyszynski by about 1 second. So the battle for this is about as good as we're going to get here. Unless one of these drivers makes a mistake, and that is quite possibly could happen here.
0.36 separating Johnson and McMeekin. The gap is closing to under 0.3 of a second as they cross the line. Still not close enough, though, to make that look down to the turn number 1. He's going to have to get closer. I honestly think, Cal, the ways we're looking right now, Johnson is so much better through turn 13 than McMeekin is that they're almost dead even on speed by the time they actually reach turn 1. He's going to have to make this spot in the middle section of the racetrack because look at how much he closes on up there. Right through turn 2, but because he's so close, has to run wider, then loses that time in 3. Johnson is really checking McMeekin up in this middle section, and that's the reason why he has not been able to get through. There's just no line to make a pass.
Well, remember, they are still worried about fuel. And I think that's what Travis Manning is doing right now because he is slowing down a lap after lap, unless he's just plumb wore that front end right off that car because Greg Wyszynski is catching him at a very rapid speed.
So he is 7/10 faster on the last lap alone. We'll have to keep an eye on that one as well. But the battle for 5th, still tight. Nearly to the bumper that time. McMeekin is ready to get his hands dirty, it would seem, with Chris Johnson. We've seen that a couple of times. In this section of the racetrack in particular, McMeekin cuts it in tighter for turn 11. Out through 12. Still not going to be close enough, I think, to have that look in a 1.
All he has to do, remember, is get to the inside. He's not even close enough to even get that. So it looks like we're going to be battling again to the infield.
It's a tough thing. I mean, these cars they have the aerodynamics of a brick, and these particular cars, not designed for road course racing, but look at how much deeper McMeekin is on the brakes. Closes in half a second, all the way up to the bumper of Chris Johnson. Has to bail out to avoid running them over. And now swings wide. Slow down penalty, I reckon, for the 41.
Back here now. Yeah, he's pretty much lost his competitive edge now. It just takes one mistake to do that, Nolan. One little mistake.
Cut it in just too tight through turn number 1. It's so unfortunate because with how much time he lost, you have to think that it's a bit unreasonable. But all right, starts. Oh, just give it a bumper from Austin Greer. Greer wants to move back up to 6th. So coming to 3 to go. Austin Greer is not playing around anymore. He also wants to work his way back up there. Drumhiller has also reeled in Josh Schaffner while all of this chaos was going on. So you got McMeekin, Greer, and Shamoon. And then you've also got Schaffner and Drumhiller just about 2-3 seconds behind them. Coming around for 3 to go. Already, Hogan is in turn 5 on his third to last lap on the race. It's been interesting, to say the very least. It's died off a little bit, but that is to be expected with just about any road course race when you get near the end of these things. But that's not to say the battles are still not raging on. I mean, there's still plenty of time for these fights here in the midfield to close right back up. As we watch Austin Greer go so deep, he might open the door for Shamoon, who closes up to the back, but not enough to really make that nudge. Oh, but Shamoon takes too much curve.
Yeah. He caught that wall coming off at the last turn and on that front stretch there, and I think that might have hurt his car. Let's see how he handles all these lefts and rights in the infield here. Well, it sure looks like a Sunday drive for Boyd Hogan there. He is just out there. He can, if he needs to save any fuel, he can do it right now. He's almost 20 seconds in front of second place Travis Manning.
He'd need to lose 10 seconds a lap for Travis Manning to catch him. That's not going to happen. It's very easy to say. I mean, his laps were in the 130s, 3s. They're back in the 132s. So no way Boyd Hogan can lose this race unless he makes an astronomical error. Now, it's happened before. It is rare, though, from the 96.
Well, we've seen it. I mean, and you can make a mistake. This track is less than forgiving. I mean, you may think run the same line lap after lap after lap and get a different result. So let's not count our chickens before they're hatched. He may end up having an issue. You never know.
2 to go. The battles continue on. Shamoon, Schaffner, and Drumhiller are now looking to be close. The battle for 9th and 10th has caught up to Dan Shamoon after a couple of errors from the 23 car's part. Has sent him further down towards the tail end of the field and the tail of the top 10 as well. Randy Drumhiller still seeing if he can maybe make up a position. He'll be able to do it if Shamoon runs wide and he's into the grass. This does not open the door quite enough, though, for Schaffner.
Well, Schaffner just has to put his patient pants on there, and he will end up making that, getting that position here, because Moon is all over the track. His car is not running like it was at the beginning of this race. We got one slow. Is that Paul Olsen? Is he out of fuel or?
Nah, he's a lap down. He's several laps down. He's just trying to let these guys through, make sure he doesn't impede on their battle. Good on him. I mean, you never want to see a battle interrupted by a lapped car. It's happened so many times in a road course race that I can count. It's a good thing to see, that he's able to recognize the battle going on behind him and make sure he doesn't really impede it. White flag is out, by the way, for Boyd Hogan, who's on his final trip around the racetrack.
Go ahead and go in car with Boyd Hogan as we watch him finish out this last 7 or 8 or 9, 10 laps or 10 turns here.
The driver's been for Boyd Hogan. He won stage 1 by a country mile. Manny gave him a bit of a headache with stage 2. Oh my gosh, battle is on for 8th place. A big dive bomb from Schaffner sends Shamoon down to 9th and gets back up. Schaffner with the slowdown penalty. Has to give up a spot now to Drumhiller. Talk about a bad call from Schaffner to make a dive from that far back.
Yeah, that was one mistake that he's going to regret at the end of this race. I guarantee you that. But Shamoon, he's not giving up. He's trying to get on the bumper of Austin Greer here. He wants to gain another position.
Boyd Hogan off the final corner. He wins the Napa Auto Parts 110 from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Wachinski's all over the back bumper of Travis Manning. Meanwhile, he's trying to maybe see if he can make a run. Manning saving fuel big time. That 22 car, seeing if he can maybe just creep around this final corner and come to the line. Wachinski maybe run him down with a draft out of the final corner. This is going to be close here. Wachinski with the run. Not going to be enough, though. Manning holds on to P2.
A great run by Greg Wachinski and Brian Johnson. My pick to win. He ends up having a little struggle throughout the race, but he still finishes in the top 5 here. That's a great run.
Last battle out there, Dan Shamoon versus Austin Greer. This is for P number 7. Do not think there's going to be any kind of change in position here. Shamoon's running Greer down, but it's not going to be nearly enough to take this one. Greer takes 7th with Shamoon 8th, and Drumhiller rounded out 9th place. Just waiting now on the last few drivers to finish out tonight's race. What a great drive from everybody in the field here, Al.
Absolutely, absolutely. There was a couple of different incidents on the track. We had some cars go off the track and cars slam into each other and people hit the wall and lose control. But overall, this was a typical road course. Great run by everybody.
As Wayne Grossi rounds the final corner, we'll take a look at your official ButtKicker post-race results. Boyd Hogan winning this one, and the well-deserved win at that. 24 seconds over Travis Manning with Greg Wachinski a 10th and a half behind Manning. Brian Johnson is in 4th place with Chris Johnson rounding out the top 5. Matthew McMeekin is in 6th with Austin Greer 7th. It'll be Dan Shamoon in 8th, Randy Drumhiller and Josh Schaffner rounding out the top 10.
And finishing out our field, it's going to be Robert Pattengale coming in 11th, Wayne Grossi coming in 12th, Craig Johnson coming in 13th, Paul Olson coming in 14th, Kenny Powell coming in 15th, Dalton Collins 16th, Corey Cook 17th, Chuck Phillips 18th, and see Justin Levine made it in here just in time to make 19th, and then we have Michael Grant coming in 20th.
A great run then here throughout the field. Wow, what a drive we've seen so far from all the guys out there today. We will bring up now a couple of the guys from the podium. We're still waiting on Boyd Hogan, but for now, I think we can kick things off with Greg Wachinski, Al.
Greg Wachinski, Al Kozlowski in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. Gotcha.
Boy, we thought you had 2nd place there, Greg. Great run, great run. Was Travis Manning, were you just that much faster? You think Travis was saving fuel?
I'm pretty sure he was toying with me.
Well, he could toy with you, but you're not the one to toy with. You almost took that 2nd place from him. Congratulations on your 3rd place finish.
Yeah, congratulations to Boyd and Travis. They ran a good race.
You did great. This race, is this your, how many times have you been on this track this week already?
Twice, I think.
That's one hell of a performance for only running this. Is this your 3rd time?
Yeah, it's the 3rd time I've ever ran it, right?
A great job, because you know we have some competitive drivers in here. For you to finish 3rd is a humongous feat, so congratulations.
Thank you.
What about any sponsors? Anybody you want to thank? Grandma and Grandpa? Anybody?
Just all the guys at G&G. They do a good job making these setups. This was actually a setup that Clayton made. He didn't even get to run tonight.
Well, good deal. Well, congratulations once again, Greg Wachinski, and on your 3rd place finish.
Thanks again. Good job, guys.
Let's see if we can get a hold of that 2nd place. Travis the Man Manning. Travis Manning, you got a copy.
Yes, sir.
Travis, it looked like at the end of this race, we were kind of looking at 3rd place. Greg Wachinski closing rapidly. Were you saving fuel or what were we doing here? He says you were toying with it.
I wish I could say I was doing either one of those. No, I was losing the front end of the car about 3/4 of the way through the stage run. So by the time the long run came around, it's just kind of go for it. I think I saved maybe the first 2 laps of the run, and that was it. It was just wide open. But yeah, just really struggling to get the front of the car under us in the long run, and it almost cost me 2nd place. So wish I could say I was toying with them, but no, I couldn't turn the car, and it's hard to drive this place when your front end's not responding.
Well, I was kind of wondering, because I think earlier in one of the stages I heard some race chatter where you were telling somebody else that you're losing your front end of that car, and that's just not something you want to tell your competitor.
I was telling Boyd that I really didn't have much for him. I gave him hell in the 2nd stage just to try, hopefully I mean, whenever you get hard racing like that, someone's bound to make a mistake. But I couldn't force the error. If anything, I was the one that made the mistake. So, no, I told him I wanted to steal the front tires off his car because he probably had double the life I did. It was, I would have taken anything at that point.
Well, you can't really complain too much about a second place. Congratulations on that second place. How about some sponsors? We got any sponsors we want to thank? Anybody watching the race tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, first and foremost, Bruzy Racewear, Frontline Esports, everyone over there. Sucks that it was another bridesmaid finish for us, but again, like I said last week, we're just going to keep coming back, keep trying, and one of these days we'll get one of these official wins in this thing.
Well, you certainly give Boyd a shot. We'll run for his money tonight, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next week. And hopefully we have this battle continue.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone, ISCA, and good race, Boyd. And also shout out to Boyd. Happy birthday to him.
Well, that's some news to us. So we didn't know that it was Mr. Hogan's birthday. I mean, I'm not going to sing him happy birthday, but I think Nolan is he's warming up those vocals right now, and he's going to sing a happy birthday to Boyd Hogan.
Oh, don't put me on the spot, please. Oh, no. Okay. Happy birthday to you. I'm going to stop right there. Happy birthday, though, Mr. Hogan.
Thanks, boys.
Mr. Hogan, all the wins, Hogan. Another time, here we are again, talking about a win. Walk us through this. It looked like there was a little bit. Did you think you had to save fuel? I mean, you weren't running as strong as you were the first and second stage, in my opinion.
Yeah, I didn't have to save fuel or anything. It was just that was going to be the longest run I put on the car, and I didn't want to melt the rear tires off too early and give up whatever ground I was going to have at the end, because I thought Travis was going to stay, relatively glued to my back end there in the last stage, and now I was really just trying to conserve as much tire as we could and be smooth.
Well, you certainly did it. There was a 24-second gap between you and Travis Manning at the end. That's roughly about 1/5 of the time right there. I mean, he was 20% behind you. So great job again, week after week. We haven't seen you in a while, and we've gotten some news about your grandmother, and we're very sorry to hear that. We're going to miss her dearly. But you put on one hell of a show for her tonight, and I'm sure she's walking.
Appreciate it, Al. Thank you.
Let's give some shout outs to some sponsors and anybody that we may have watching the race tonight.
Yeah, first person I got to shout out is obviously, my grandpa still watches the streams, and I know he's been wanting to see some more of them, so figured why not pop out Indy Road and see if we can run good here tonight. Had to test some stuff out for the team anyways, and ended up getting us one. So thanks to him for all his support and everything he's done. I know he's had a whole bunch of shit to deal with here the last 2 months that he should have never had to, and so always thinking of him. And then the next people I got to thank, man. Travis knows this better than about anybody. I am terrible on road. This car was absolutely cracked tonight, and I can't thank Jared Crawford, Chris Hill, Randall Falks, Garrett Lowe, Carson Hosevar, everybody who put, I'm not even going to say how much time into these things every single week on road courses to try to figure out what we were missing and what we needed, and every single week after week, it was minimal gains for Coke, for A-Opens, for anything. And finally this week I sat down and we all kind of came together at the Glen. They did, 99% of the work and carried the whole thing. And I brought it over to Indy and tried messing with some stuff and had Vicente Salas be nice enough to turn laps and help out with building the Reaper set and doing coaching and stuff like that. So I got a little bit better with driving on road, so I got to thank him and thank everybody at Legacy for all their work every week.
Well, you certainly made it look pretty easy tonight, boy. Congratulations on a podium finish.
Thank you, sir. Thanks thanks for putting it on. Got to thank Kenny for always having the league. It's fun to come out here on Thursday nights whenever we can and put on a show for everybody.
We
And,
absolutely love it, buddy. We love seeing you guys back. Are we going to see you next week?
I gotta be crew chief for Road to Pro next week. I will. I'd like to be back the following week though. I would like to make a run in the playoffs if that presents itself. So that'd be pretty cool to go ahead and do once the schedule frees up a bit. Also got to shout out Trayton and everybody with ReaperSpeedLab.com. Just slide over there. We got setups for everything on the asphalt oval side, and we're working on dirt and a couple other things, and everything's going pretty well. So thanks to everybody who supports that as well.
Well, good job, Boyd. Congratulations again on your first place finish. Nolan, we have anything? You didn't finish your happy birthday, so why don't you go ahead and close us out?
Well, first off, once again, want to give a huge happy birthday out to Boyd Hogan. But I tell you what, it's going to be an interesting couple weeks coming on up here. You got Michigan and Daytona, two very draft-heavy tracks to round out the regular season in the Super Cup Series season, with Darlington kicking off the end of the regular Cup Series season. So bound to be an incredibly entertaining race all the way from start to finish here for the end of the regular season and the rest of the Super Cup Series season as well. So that's going to be it for now, though, from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. For myself, Nolan Rempel, and Al Kozlowski with Rob Melton down by the head cameras, we bid you all good night, and we'll see you all next week.